Yo, what is poppin'? We're doing Apothecary Diaries, episode 16. I'm Totes. Last episode we got a mystery brewing up. We had what could have been, I believe, Mamao's mother's killer. That is the running theory that I'm going with. And it does seem like we are on the right track based on the comments in the last episode. So that's good to know. Um, I did read like an interesting comment by George Praviticus. Apologies if I butchered your name. But you mentioned essentially the monocle man feeling a pang of guilt around killing the mother. And it does make sense. I don't think it's outright stated, but I think by the way you can look at his actions and the way he's essentially stayed a virgin throughout his 40 years of existence, or maybe not a virgin, but he did not marry after loving this woman. So whatever he did to this woman, he did definitely feel a pang of guilt. And we did see in the opening that he was like in distress or something. He was looking down, looking lifeless and shit, and he started looking up like, oh, like he saw a ghost or some shit. And I'm guessing that's probably not in the present. That might have been something that happened in the past where he realized the extent of the damage that he's done on this woman and he's feeling regret for it. And you did mention that you don't feel sort of any sympathy for him because it's a little too late for him, right? And I do feel that. I do feel that. This episode, I don't think we're going to dive directly into that. I think we are going to essentially have a little more I call it shenanigans. It's not actually shenanigans, but it is like it's like a side plot. It's a B plot where they're setting up more stuff. Similar to like the whole fish thing in the last episode, we're going to go into like another B plot, and we're going to use that to set up some stuff that's going to happen in the future. So let's see what that is. I'm excited. So without further ado, let's begin the reaction. Yeah, what is wrong, Jinchi? Yeah, he's very out of character. Why is he feeling so sad? Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot this. Right, we had that whole thing last episode. The whole metalworking and the dude dying without laying giving a will away. Oh, so he does have a will, okay. A fishbowl? Yeah, yeah, that third son got fucked over. Bro, a fishbowl? Yo, I'd be mad as hell if that's all my father gave me. Third son's got it worse. You know, at this point, Mao Mao is pretty much the only detective in this fucking city. Damn, my man is grumpy as hell. All the time. What did she notice? There's a rock? It looks like a mineral ore that they just didn't smelt. Shack is used as a tea. What? Ah. So the first dude. So it was like a reverse situation. It does seem very fancy. The dad definitely knows what he's doing. It's bolted in place. Why would the dad bolt furniture in place? Western style. Is this like all sort of like a test for the three sons to essentially work together and essentially be family again? Your father left behind the three of you, and the three of you are going to be the new family. I'm guessing is how the tale is going to be spun. At least you didn't get a fish. Okay, I'm sorry for laughing, bro. Oh, it's glass. Isn't glass like very... Isn't that kind of valuable back then? Did we see glass at all in the... I mean, there is glass there. Never mind. That's probably why he wants a tea party in the first place, because his sons are all, like, separated. Is that Mama? That's probably why he split the inheritance the way he did. But wouldn't the mother know of some parts of, like, the metalworking technique? I'm assuming she's been, like, helping her husband out or some shit. Maybe her husband is just working by himself? But I don't think they can afford that, though, right? They don't seem like nobility. They just seem like regular working folk. So, no sign of sun damage. So it's relatively new? Sun damage. And it's shining a light on the middle drawer, which they couldn't open. And the reason why it's locked in place is because they probably want the sun to shine on them to begin with. So what is she... Oh! Oh my god, they just threw that in there. I could not... Wow. So he probably, yeah, if Dad worked on it, he probably did it on purpose. Just that one. Ah, I was wondering that. I was like, why can't they just tear apart the thing? But I guess if it breaks apart, then, yeah. A shack, a chest of drawers, and a fishbowl. Chest is bolted on the shack, like old times. Yeah, so they have to come together. But what exactly? How exactly is the fishbowl a part of this? I don't understand. Is it like a pressure system? You have to just put it on? Why is that? I wonder if that's because, like, maybe things got rough. Maybe things got rough in terms, like, financially in their household and they just couldn't afford a goldfish. I don't know exactly how expensive goldfishes are in ancient China. Should face this way. Damn, this dad is... Yo, this dad prepared all of this? It's like a light key? What's going on? Oh, so that's why she was looking inside, and maybe she saw like something blocking the keyhole. And you use the Was there like paper or some shit inside? Anemia. Why anemia? Did she smell something in there? Did he die because he was overexposed? So I guess they took it out. They found a mold for the key. So warm and soft. No way! There ain't no way! What is that mold made from? Sunlight melting metal? Yo, this dad is a massive troll, bro. What is he doing? Yo, I'm with the brothers, bro. What the fuck is he doing? Is this like, yeah, like you have to do it yourself in order to learn it? And so he set up this exercise? Ah. So, yeah, light metal. Okay. So he's teaching his son, essentially, like metal mixing and shit. The least you could do is tell the younger brother, hey, he's speaking up for the first time. It's about the three of you figuring out what the will is together. It's like you were better than us? Yeah, I was figuring I thought this is where we were going. It's like we leave the dad's will to you. I think, yeah, maybe like, you know, you can't run a business by yourself, you know, you need all hands on deck. Yeah. Leave the three brothers to sort it out. It does seem like they're leaving on a good note though, because they're not immediately just running out. I'm guessing the reason she's saying that is because maybe she realizes that creating solder exposes them to like toxic metals and shit. And that's why she's recommending a physician. Okay. Makes sense. And that's okay. They can work on the business side. Yep. It's a full family business. All found their place. A ritual utensil. Ritual utensil. Wait. Sandalwood. Is this where the sandalwood comes from? Ritual utensils. Story of the courtesan. Yeah. Oh my god. There's so much going on. I don't know. You should ask, you know, the person you know who's been with you this entire time. A ritual utensil. Let's see this. I ain't giving shit. Yeah, I mean, we did get an entire episode on makeup. Do I? What? I mean, I'm not surprised that Jinshi uses makeup, but I honestly thought he was talking about, like, maybe this whole makeup thing is tied back to the courtesan thing. Alright, so, wow. We continued some stuff that we left off on from the last episode, with the whole metalworking thing. And I for some reason, I completely forgot about it. But I'm glad it opened up with essentially Mao talking to Jinshi about it, and I was like, oh yeah, they did mention that. Like in the last like 20 seconds of the episode, they did mention that there was essentially a father who had died without passing on his metalworking techniques to his 3 sons, and they're trying to figure out what that technique is, and they're seeing if there's any clues. Fun. We had this whole like little puzzle thing that the dad set up to essentially get the 3 sons working together again. So he set up this elaborate puzzle where he gives the sons essentially 3 of the pieces needed to solve the puzzle. He sets it up in a way where they essentially have to rearrange the furnitures such that it is reminiscent of the time when they were together, they were drinking tea together, and it was a specific time of day. That was smart because, again, it's a callback to when the 3 sons were essentially on good terms and they would have tea together. And they made a whole story about, oh, the goldfish, they were cold, so we would put it on essentially the table of the day. The sun was highest in the air, probably around 12 o'clock, and that was essentially their routine together. Somewhere along the line, the 2 brothers essentially, they realized they weren't cut out for the business, and they realized this together. They realized that the youngest son was way more competent than they are, and thus, they tried to distance themselves. A whole shebang, right? Um, so Mao Mao comes in, figures it out, realizes that the way the chests were organized, it's organized weirdly. The fact that the damn table was bolted on was a part of the puzzle. It's like the positioning of the table is important. My three sons remember that, so I like that. I like that. So yeah, they get together. It's a fairly simple puzzle, I'd say. There's not much like oh, this is mystery, this is that, this is this. Like early on in the episode, I realized what they were trying to do. It's like, oh, this is the father is trying to get the sons back together, and they're trying to get the sons to work on the business together. Even though the two brothers may not be as good, they can still offer their skills to the family business. And he did leave the metalworking formula. He did leave it, but he left it in a way where the only way they can figure it out is if the three of them work together and realize what the father is doing. I think Mao Mao figured it out, but she kept it a secret because, again, she realized it's probably better for them to figure it out, right? So she leaves. Fun, fun, fun. All that is like fairly simple stuff. I we made a note. I during the reaction, I was like, wait a second. Wait a second. Sunlight melting metal? That seems ridiculous. That does not seem like something that could happen. But then I realized, okay, they gave a whole explanation about mixing metals to create essentially a compound metal. And typically with compound metals, it'll melt a lot lower at lower temperatures. And what the dad used was like tin, copper, essentially all the softest metals he could find to make this compound metal. So I'm still like a little bit disbelief. I don't know if the science of that is correct. I'm assuming it's correct because I think the author does know their science, especially with the whole sawdust explosion thing. So I'm assuming this is correct as well. But when I first saw it, I was like, sunlight melting metal. Wow, that seems preposterous. But hey, I ain't no scientist. The reason why I bring this up is I'm wondering if we're ever going to bring that back in future stuff, because it could be a fairly like key part of a mystery in later episodes, where the knowledge of the fact that compound metals exist, and we even see this in like later episodes, but specifically soft compound metals being melted by sunlight. I wonder if that comes to play like in future stuff. Probably not, but it could be fun if it did pop up. But yes, the big thing this episode was the fact that the Monocle Man, I still don't know his name. I apologize. I don't think we've ever gotten his name. We might have, but like he shows up like the very end of the episodes. They never say his name, so I don't have time to remember him. But the Monocle Man knows essentially what's happening in the three brothers' house. He probably, predicted this is probably what the father wants him to do. And it's a very simple prediction. I made that prediction too, so it makes sense that he knows that's probably what the father set up the three sons to do. But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is that after he mentions the fact that he knew what the father was going to do, he praises the father's metalwork, saying, "Oh my God, while the metalworking engravings that he does, the simple metal part, if used on a ritual utensil, would look fabulous. Would look fabulous." And then Jinshi goes, "Why are you telling me this? I am an official. I am not a religious person." He says, "Given my position, ritual utensils don't mean much of anything to me." And so he mentions that to the Monocle Man, and he says, "Oh, come on. I just don't want good talent to be buried. Those with talent should receive attention." And that goes into this whole monologue about Jinshi recognizing that the Monocle Man is a man that recognizes talents in other people, and he uses that to essentially climb the ranks. He's a man that knows his place, essentially. And I think he even made a mention of that with the two sons. He's like, "Oh, at least the two sons have found their place in the world." I feel like the Monocle Man is being characterized as this person right now who is very obsessed with status and position. And this is a good point. Given the way that he's being characterized right now, the fact that he cares so much about status and position. Again, he mentioned the fact that, hey, the two guys, they know their place. Jinshi made a note about how he's good at climbing the ranks, discerning talents. Like, he knows when people are good and he knows where to put them. Given that fact, maybe the reason why he struggled so hard to essentially court the courtesan was essentially because of that mismatch of status, where he's essentially coming from a sort of nobility, upper stat. He's coming from the royal court, and he's essentially courting a prostitute. And maybe that mismatch and the way essentially the courtesan, she doesn't give a fuck. Mao Mao's mother doesn't give a fuck about any of that. She's just smart as shit. Maybe because of that, he had trouble essentially bringing her into the inner palace. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he's filled with so much regret, is because he is a person who is obsessed with status, and because of that, he messed up his one chance at love. Who knows? But I don't know. The big thing, though, I keep saying this, but the big thing, though, is the ritual wood shit. Because he mentioned, regardless of whatever his obsession with status is, or his knowledge of the three brothers, the fact that he mentioned, hey, God, the metalworking would look really good on these ritual utensils, or ritual furnitures, or ritual whatever, that is curious. Because George, I think if you watch, I believe 2 episodes ago, or an episode ago, I think, George, you made a note that sandalwood was essentially used a lot in East Asian religions. And you said you didn't know what to do with that information. I think we're getting that right now. I think on some levels, he is connected to some religious organization. Maybe to like a Taoist cult, or a Taoist sect or whatever. Because we did see Jinshi at the very end wearing these like ornate garbs and shit. And I always thought it was like military gear. But now, like, with this scene, maybe that whole thing was like sort of, they're trying to frame it in a more religious context. Maybe that was religious garbs. Simple metal part, but if used on a ritual utensil would look fabulous. And Jinshi is questioning why the fuck is he talking about ritual utensils to a man of his stature, because he doesn't do rituals. He doesn't do anything religious, or anything ceremonial, in fact. So why is he talking about ritual utensils to Jinshi? We don't know. Okay, God. So in terms of this, like, B plot that we have right now, I say B plot, but this is probably the main plot. We know that the girl who was bullying Mao Mao smelled of sandalwood, and she wanted Mao Mao to stay away from the military complex. And that's probably because of the monocle man. That was our first, essentially, inciting of the whole ritual thing, of the whole religious motifs that we've seen in this episode. Because it mentioned, hey, she smelled of sandalwood. So we can assume that maybe on some level she was a part of this ritual ceremonial proceedings that occur in the inner court. And now we're getting the fact that Jinshi does not know of anything sort of ritual-like. He's not a part of any ceremonial thing. He is confused when the monocle man essentially tries to talk about ritual stuff with him. So it's like, he's not a part of it, clearly. And the monocle, I don't know. Okay, I feel like I'm not making any sense. This is confusing as shit. In what ways can we tie this in? We do have the new courtesan. Maybe the new courtesan is involved in somehow. Maybe that's it. Maybe the new courtesan is, or maybe the family behind the new courtesan is deeply tied to sort of the selling of sandalwood and the whole rituals around it. Maybe they come from like a priestly village or priestly kingdom or something, and that's why she's being introduced. Because there's so many like loose plot threads right now, and I don't know how they're going to tie it together. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm rambling right now. God, this discussion is fucking awful. Oh my god, this discussion is awful, man. I just realized I'm like rambling on for God knows how long. I'm confused as shit. I'm gonna be honest. I'm confused. I have an idea about where they can go, but I am very much in the dark. Right. I'm so in the dark. I think Q Mug, you said like I got things right, but I feel like I'm still confused as all hell, and I cannot wait for the reveal to see essentially what sort of predictions I made that were correct. But I'm like I don't know, bro. Uh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Sandalwood something. We'll have to see next episode. My brain is fried right now. So anyways, if you liked the video, like the discussion, reaction, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Take care.